So our next speaker is Dr. Ashfaq. He is the author of Islamic Banking and Finance in Europe, the case of Germany and the United Kingdom. In addition, Dr. Ashfaq is the academic director at the International University of Applied Sciences in Germany. Dr. Ashfaq is also a visiting faculty member at Wittenberg University of Applied Sciences in the Netherlands and the International MBA program at Coburg University, Germany. So please give a round of applause.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, I'm feeling, quite under pressure because we have already artificial intelligence-based presentation, and unfortunately, I'm only human being. And apart from that, I have seen quite wonderful presentations. Before I start my presentation about this research paper, I would like to thank you and congratulate to the Guidance College and all the people, organizers who have put forth all the efforts in order to organize this second NACIF conference. This is my first time experience of attending a conference on Islamic finance in this part of the world. I'm really very pleased to see the quality of the speakers. And as in my introduction, it was mentioned that I wrote a book on Islamic banking and finance, comparative analysis of UK and Germany. I would like to briefly talk about that because it is interesting to see the diversity of Muslims living here and the Muslims that we have in our European part of the world, because now close to 7 million Muslims we have in Germany, and in United Kingdom 4.7 million. So in terms of Islamic banking and finance, we see that there is a growth going on, but that growth is quite low. So these were the first few remarks. As far as this presentation is concerned, that is on performance of Sharia compliant and non-Sharia compliant exchange traded funds. It is a comparative study which is done by several co-authors, including Ali Shakrullah and Rashidul Hassan, and we are very much happy that our research paper that we sent for this conference is just published in International Journal of Islamic and Middle Eastern Finance and Management. If you would like to have a copy of this paper, please feel free to let me know. I will be happy to provide you the copy. So as far as the introduction and the purpose of this paper is concerned, we would like to see the comparative analysis of Sharia compliant and non-Sharia compliant funds, and especially from a North American perspective. And for that, if we look at the exchange traded funds that started during 1993, and we see that the exchange traded funds brings many advantages, such as they are flexible and you can diversify your portfolios. On the other hand, liquidity and volatility has been one of the main issues. So these studies would like to see how the US market behaves in terms of these two funds and what we can see the impact on performance of these two funds. So let's talk about, first of all, literature review. There are many studies that have been conducted. For example, first study during early 1990s, because that was the time period when the information technology started evolving and the focus was on cost cutting as well as on diversification. So if we look at the Islamic finance principles and Sharia compliant principles which prohibit riba, gharar, and other non-ethical practices, we see that in terms of the Sharia compliance, because if you would like to have Sharia compliant your Islamic finance product, it will increase your cost. On the other hand, we see that according to literature review, there are no negative impact on returns from ECG integration point of view. So at the end, we can say that from a research that has been conducted by various scholars in different parts of the world, they have already talked about how Sharia screening methodologies are playing an important role in the evolution of Islamic ETFs. So there are many other papers which are conducted already using qualitative as well as quantitative approach. So as far as the performance and comparison of exchange traded funds are concerned, research shows that, and then I will be showing our own personal research. So the literature shows that the Islamic ETFs can outperform conventional exchange traded funds, especially during the meltdown time. And this was also the time during the 2008 and 2009 financial crisis, when we saw that many Western scholars, professors, academia, they started looking at Islamic banking and finance. They saw that, okay, here probably Islamic banking and finance, according to their minds, that it could have a better resilience and it could play an important role in the sustainability and stability of the financial system overall. So Islamic finance performs better during the meltdown time with low liquidity risk and variability, suggesting that ethical investing can align with the financial benefits as well. So as far as our methodology is concerned, we used two approaches. This was a two-step approach. In the first one, we used the matrices for the exchange-traded funds from BlackRock, and the data set underpinning this analysis was collected from the official website of BlackRock iShare website. And the second approach that we used, that was a comparison of Sharia compliant versus non-Sharia compliant ETFs. And this was the choice of both funds to conduct a detailed analysis to see that how the both funds vary. And the time period that we used, that was 2013 and 2022 because of the availability of the data. So as far as the different matrices are concerned, we used net asset year-to-date return, and then the time frame from 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, and 12 months yield, while comparing the Sharia compliant and non-Sharia compliant as far as the funds are concerned. So our comparative analysis shows that, as far as the annual returns are concerned, there is a quite variability in terms of annual returns. And if you look at the differences in terms of deviation, so there are also differences between ETFs of Sharia compliant companies as well as ETFs of non-Sharia compliant companies. And we see that the objectives of both funds are quite also different. So we came to, our study shows that as far as the Sharia compliant year-to-date returns are concerned, as well as quarterly returns are concerned, the Islamic Sharia compliant exchange traded funds, they perform better. On the other hand, even though the size of Islamic Sharia compliant investment funds are quite low compared to, if you look at the right side where we have non-Sharia compliant funds, which are quite large in size. And then on the other hand, if you look at the 12 month year to date and TER expense ratio, the non-Sharia compliant exchange traded funds perform better. So here we can conclude that from 2013 to 2022, both Sharia compliant as well as non-Sharia compliant funds performance is variable. So which means that the Sharia compliant exchange traded funds demonstrate a notable competitiveness compared to non-Sharia compliant returns with relatively low operating cost. So as far as the discussion of this paper is concerned, we also came to know that the impact of ethical challenges and performance, because there are many different studies which shows that the impact of the fatwa shopping on the compliance. So what we need to do from an Islamic finance point of view to enhance the compliance. And then there is a greater need in order to recommend, because we have already, there are many eminent speakers talked about the how we can spread the Islamic banking and finance and the ethics. And so without the Sharia advisory board's proactive role in Islamic banking and finance, probably it will be very difficult, because we see there are many misconceptions among Muslims about the Islamic banking and finance. Because if you ask several people, Muslims, someone will say, okay, Islamic banking finance is permissible. Some will say Islamic banking and finance is not permissible. So in case of exchange traded funds, what we need to do is we need to have the external independent auditors who can review the reports that we have, and so that we can have a better compliance with Islamic finance principles from a discussion point of view. So at the end, we can say that when we compare in North America, in United Kingdom, in United States, the Sharia compliant versus non-Sharia compliant exchange traded funds, the Islamic Sharia compliant funds, they are better in terms of performance. And but what we need to do is we need to conduct further research, and we need to take further qualitative as well as non-qualitative methodologies so that we can ascertain with the new knowledge. So this is a first first type of research in the North American perspective, and we hope that the further studies will, further investigate this topic. So thank you so much. Once again, thank you to Guidance College for this event. Thank you.